It's amazing. I got a new subscriber recently, up to 67. I'm sure it'll go down again because I seem to lose more than I get sometimes because they don't like the first or second video after the one that made them curious. It might have been that they didn't like a video. They were just curious who I am. Maybe being new in the community or something like that. So all the people I met in all the communities I traveled to in the world and in BC in the last couple of years, and the subscribers and relatives I have, and long-time acquaintances that used to be friends that may or may not think of me from time to time is yeah, I'm not getting views. And of course it's all explained by HSD. The biggest explanation is I don't allow ads, but there are other explanations from YouTube, I believe, that are personally directed at me. But it's also people don't want to go there, right? Like, this is a lesson in democracy, and I gotta say, Trudeau is you past November 3rd, eh? Like, I'm more scared of Poiliev being prime minister, and I already talked about Singh as just being a nice regular guy. But maybe, maybe he'd do a better job than you now, I'm thinking. Plus, j'aime chanter, I like to sing. But Trudeau is, if you ever want to contact me for advice for something as a socio-cyberneticist, I recommend you don't do it in person, because I'm going to have to arrest you after November 3rd has passed and you're not saying ceasefire. Hey guys, what's the difference in a country that is supposedly a democracy? What is the difference between the elites and the citizens? And the elites could be many different definitions you want to use. So, when people say Israel has a right to defend itself, is it the majority of citizens would have voted to do it in that way? Or to continue and escalate a generational conflict like this one? Because here's what's happening right now is, and of course we're some media that are afraid to go against what too many people believe is a holy land, even though they don't believe it themselves, is they won't show those nations a lot of that news. But in Israel, there's a lot of citizens there who are protesting against what's happening in Gaza. So I want to say that what they're doing, and that they're being now hunted down by their own government, that's what I would say is Israelites have a right to defend themselves by protesting these responses by their elites. And like what I'm doing by saying, shame on you, Trudeau, I would arrest you in person for these crimes that are on the books as being things people go to jail for. I'm sorry there's nobody in your party or any other party who would do this, and nations should say this. Say, hey, I like what Ireland is putting out there a lot these days. But yeah, so Israelites have a right to defend themselves, so they're protesting because this is wrong. Plus, who's to say they're not going to be the next innocent Israelites who get killed when it escalates later on from extremists who weren't extremists before until the last couple of weeks happened and turned these Palestinians into extremists through the decisions of the Israel elites, and of course with all the other nations. When I traveled in Japan once, I used my conflict resolution skills and a hug to tone down a situation that was pretty bad. And I was just volunteering there. I wasn't the boss, but I had the authority as a volunteer to say, hey, you did your praying in the other place before, I recommend. And the Fred said, oh yeah, he just lost a lot of family members. Are you from the States? And I said, I'm not going to go get my passport. I'm from Canada, but it doesn't make a difference. And I brought it back to the point that, yeah, right now is you're taking up this entire space that is a common space. People would not even know if they can walk around you. And last time you used a different common space that had so much room and it was less busy. And I recommend going there. That's the point. I'm not saying you can't do your prayer and you can't lay that object on the ground to do it on and take as long as you want. But it's about respecting others. And I never went to get my passport, but they had a big hatred of the soldiers that had killed the family members that were from the States. I don't know which part. I'm not sure like where they're from and what the history and when these things happen. I know that a lot of people that are from the States travel wearing Canadian t-shirts. I noticed that. They don't mind telling me they're from the States, and they don't ask me if I'm offended or if I'm agreeing to this. And again, I don't even identify specifically as a Canadian. If people ask me, I say I'm a third planet from the sun. And that's me defending my own humanity in a way that is way beyond the paradigms of people that would watch my YouTube channel. As you can see, they don't show up. They don't show up. They don't write comments. You don't need to subscribe. You don't need to like anything. But, sometimes, like I posted something on I think a Buckley Valley babysitting Facebook group. We can see how desperate the messages are. Really need a babysitter for this. And sometimes it's not even something important. And they'll take a stranger to take care of their kids. That's how good parents they are. So, and I'm not saying I respond or I want to do it. I'm just noticing these patterns, right? I'm a socio-cyberneticist. So, to resume a little bit is, for example, the United Nations has nothing to do with democracy because it's all about the elites. And what Israel is doing is the elites. It's the elites defending themselves. And when the citizens of Israel protest against that, they are really doing self-defense instead of pushing the ideologies of. And when they don't protest, then, things escalate like they did, with the Nazi party. So they have to do it. They have to do it because it's wrong, and it repeats history because we never learned from it as a failed species. And it also, they're protecting themselves from worse retaliations later. And right now what's happening all around the world is you can really see who the hypocrites in politics are. And I'm not saying Poilievre is better than Trudeau. No way would I ever see him as possibly being anything but self-serving. Trudeau is capable of not being self-serving, but he's not capable of taking on the decision right now to go against so many other elites where he's trying to work on long-term projects to, to help out Canada. And also, I think maybe politicians during the Anthropocene shouldn't have kids and wives because it's too dangerous. If they want to do the right thing for their own citizens, I think they shouldn't minimize loved ones. I don't even have a dog to walk with here. I don't know if people would, instead of hurting me, they'd poison my dog. I don't know, but I know sometimes it goes days and nobody shows up here to even come walk their dogs that I'd love to be friends with. So, guys, I'm defending my own humanity, and this is why I'm posting this, because it shows who I am and who you are. And right now, I tell you, using the laws that Canada claims, it is a nation of laws that, we could arrest most of our politicians. So I hope most of you, I can't even leave here. I bought a new battery, a different one than MotoMaster, but I'm still waiting for a part so that I can see if that's what was failing and why I wasn't getting my batteries charging. Because I've stalled a few times. Last night I stalled right as I entered the parking lot of my errand of laundry. So guys, yeah, I'm living a life uncommon because I'm not a coward.